And now, coming to you live from the decentralized studios of Satoshi Crypto Research Labs, it's Blockchain After Dark.
And now, with stars over our heads, under the night lights of the city streets, this.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blockchain After Dark. Today I'm going to talk about an interesting use case of blockchain that has potentially massive implications for the mass adoption of blockchain and crypto. And it happens to come from an organization responsible for a significant amount, and that's an understatement, a significant amount of the technological progress of humanity in the last 50 to 70 years. And that organization is known as the United States Defense Department. The Department of Defense in the United States obviously runs the organization known as DARPA, which is the group that created the technology, essentially, of the internet. And DARPA has created many other technological breakthroughs in the last 40, 50 years. And obviously, the United States military was largely responsible for creating a lot of the technology that made it possible to test breaking the speed of sound. All right, and that led to the government forming NASA when it decided to explore the possibilities of exploring space and landing a man on the moon. A feat, by the way, which has not been repeated since that era. And what is interesting about this is that now you have the United States Department of Defense talking about how blockchain is actually massively useful and has huge potential for the effectiveness of disaster relief efforts, right? And disaster relief efforts are significant undertakings when there's like a huge tsunami or a hurricane or a tornado or massive wildfire or earthquake, flooding, any kind of human disaster, affected by nature, natural disasters that impact civilization in any way, or just people wherever they are. And the Department of Defense basically says in a report that they issued recently, quote, "The potential is absolutely enormous. Talk about blockchain, and you'll hear experts comparing it to transforming trust or transactions in the same way the internet changed communication. Other agencies and countries are also looking into this technology." And that is a quote from CPI management analyst Elijah Londo. And he makes the point, essentially, that blockchain is something so revolutionary that this is going to actually impact far beyond just DoD, but also other countries, not just government agencies, but actually other countries. And we know that that's already happening, looking at blockchain as a solution to a lot of their logistical troubles, trying to manage and track things that they move from one place to another, right? If all of the assets moved in and out of disaster locations were tokenized, it would be a lot easier to track what has happened to them so that they don't get lost, because a lot of the infrastructure that goes into places, has a way of disappearing, let's just say, after the crisis ebbs, and even sometimes during the heart of the crisis, because that's the easiest time when all the chaos is happening to make assets disappear. So there are a lot of massive possibilities that you can think of with blockchain, but historically, when the Department of Defense gets involved, when there's a national security issue on the table, that is typically when you see massive advancements, including mass adoption, happen, right? They created the internet. It didn't go massive adoption immediately, but as soon as it had a veritable use case, right, email and the web, those technologies became almost ubiquitous, practically overnight in terms of human civilization. Within 10 years, 20 even, everyone was using the web. But from the time the web was launched in the early 90s to let's say even 2000, already by then it was massively adopted technology. Even though it wasn't the same in terms of quality and speed as you have today in many parts of the world, it was still the internet, and you could still go online and post things and blog and do many things that people were doing back then. So it's absolutely, I would call it a big development, and I would definitely stay tuned to what is going to happen in terms of DoD adopting blockchain. Now, unlike the other technologies that they invented, of course, the DoD did not officially invent crypto, right? Satoshi Nakamoto didn't invent cryptography either. He just invented the first practical cryptocurrency that could be used for transacting real value across the internet. That's what he invented, right? Cryptography itself, much older than that. But even cryptocurrency, officially the DoD did not invent this technology, which makes for interesting discussion about why would they be so interested in a technology they did not invent. Usually they adopt technologies that they invent, right? Well, obviously not every technology they use they invented, that's clearly the case, but they did invent a significant chunk of the technologies that they use today. So why wouldn't they use an advance in blockchain type technology? Why wouldn't they create their own? Maybe they don't need to create their own because what exists already is so good. And if you wear your tinfoil hat and you think they made it, good for you. If you think that's crackpot theory, good for you. It doesn't really matter, is the point. What matters is that DoD recognizes the significance of this technological breakthrough and wants to make sure that they don't miss the opportunity to try it and to try to make the most of it for their own interests. So this is, I would say without a doubt, spectacularly good news for blockchain. And I would also say that in the future, it will not be surprising. In fact, I would expect to see more of these kind of stories coming out of Defense Department, government sub-agencies, and contractors and subcontractors as they use blockchain increasingly. I mean, we already have that company in Rwanda that does blockchain-based first aid. They have these little drones that fly around the country and deliver medical supplies, medical devices, medical assistance by drones. that are, linked to the blockchain, so everything is tracked. And that is a joint private government partnership. We'll continue this discussion in a moment, but for now I just want to mention something.
And now, a word from our sponsor, getablockchainwallet.com.
Protect your digital assets. Don't have a personal disaster. Go to getablockchainwallet.com. Learn all about the various best of breed hardware wallets. Check out the various options in the comparison tables and in the review articles. And then if you decide you want one, follow the links to the actual shops. The shops are directly on the sites of the people who make the wallets, so you know you're getting it directly from the maker. Getablockchainwallet.com also wants to advise you to read the latest material about hardware wallets. There was recently, I think it was 2 days ago now, a conference in which a couple of developers showed off a system, a way that they used to successfully hack into a Ledger Nano S hardware wallet and a Trezor hardware wallet. And what's I guess most stunning about this is that they managed to play Snake on the Ledger Nano S. They managed to actually hack into the device, but after going through their presentation, it's clear that it's not an easy hack, and it's not something that they could do successfully to large amounts of wallets, because partly you need physical access to the actual wallet itself, and you need physical access to the computer which is connecting to the wallet, and you need to be within 10 feet or so using an antenna to connect to the device at the moment that the person is doing the transaction. And there's a lot of other technical stuff that needs to be done. It's very complicated. I'm not saying it couldn't be done, obviously it could be, but Trezor and Ledger both responded to the revelation by saying that the wallets, other than this apparent hack, which they were actually not aware of because nobody had contacted them formally through their channels, this hack is being addressed. They have already a sort of stopgap solution for anyone who thinks they might have been hacked, and they said that they are working on a firmware upgrade due out in, I think they both said something like January, or within a month, or whatever that means. So Ledger and Trezor are both addressing the issue, but it does bring to question the security of hardware wallets. Well, fortunately, Trezor and Ledger are not the only two hardware wallets, and although I'm very happy with the wallets that I use, which do include Trezor and Ledger, I have to say that I've never had an issue with any of those wallets, any of them at all, but there are now a number of choices you can pick from, right? And there's KeepKey, and there's other ones out there, eComey. So go to getablockchainwallet.com, right? That's getablockchainwallet.com. I guess it's kind of obvious if you're searching, like, where would I get a blockchain wallet? Well, getablockchainwallet.com. Check out the site. It's all free. Read the reviews. Get what you need, and always be well informed. So, just a reminder, this holiday season, if you're giving or you have already given crypto for the holidays, then absolutely make sure you secure that crypto. And what better way to do it than with a good, high quality, unhacked and unhackable, or largely unhackable, hardware wallet from getablockchainwallet.com. And of course, getablockchainwallet.com reminds you to cover your assets. Happy holidays.
And now, back to blockchain. After dark.
We're seeing more cases around the world like that, where governments and public-private partnerships are teaming up and making a difference with real-world use cases that actually impact, the quality of life for people in places where today advanced world-class services of this kind don't exist. And there are cryptocurrencies out there already that do this kind of thing. One of them is called Flyte, and ETHLYTE.tech. That's their website. Flyte is also known as Flyte Crypto, and Flyte Crypto is all about community. If you read the white paper, if you read the roadmap, if you read the products and services they're offering, all of it is designed for basically delivering these increasingly critical financial services and alternative financing services and products. And they're doing that, building it for the unbanked. And why should anybody care about the unbanked? Well, there are 2 billion of them. So 1 in 3 of us, one in 3.5 of us, whatever the number is, what are we, 7 point something billion people now? So between 1 in 3 and 1 in 4 people don't actually have financial services, right? At least not proper formal ones. They don't have a bank. They don't have a proper credit card or debit card. They definitely don't have online payment systems we're running, And this provides a solution. This lets them get debit cards, gift cards, escrow services, insurance services, P2P loans, microloans, and all kinds of advanced world-class services that work on the blockchain. And I think these kind of projects, they really give hope to humanity. They inspire people to do better, to improve their life, to improve their lot in life, as people say. Because really, when you come down to it, if you have no financial power in the 21st century, you are effectively a slave, right? You may not be a real slave with a whip over your head, but you are a financial slave because you are completely controlled by your paymasters, and your freedom and your experience in this world will be savagely limited by the people who hand you your paycheck and the people who take away their share of it, called the government. And so cryptocurrencies that are both censorship resistant, like Bitcoin, but also have a higher purpose that's focused on improving the quality of life of the people who use it, like Flyte Crypto, that means more to me as a person than any value of a token or a coin could. It far outweighs the price of whatever a high value coin might be, because when you raise the quality of life of communities around the world that are currently suffering from unnecessary burdens caused entirely by an artificial financial system that is centralized and has very, very little redeeming qualities, and is very short-sighted and essentially just attempts to manipulate the market all the time. Doesn't attempt. essentially manipulates the market all of the time and determines things like inflation and interest rates for everybody in their country and, effectively around the world. When you have such massive levers of control over people's lives because of the currency that they use, I think that's one of the saddest things. And I think that's one of the things people need to correct. And yes, it means that governments may eventually be smaller, may effectively not be necessary at some point in some places, or massively reduced, let's just say. They could be massively reduced. Well, I think the more forward-thinking governments will be brave enough to say, that's right, we don't need to be so large. We can let our citizens enjoy more of their own hard-earned wealth. And we, as a government, can be more effective by being smaller and focusing on the things people actually need and not just bloating ourselves up. Now, of course, it's counterintuitive because the purpose of government is to survive. Right? That is actually the purpose. It's not to serve or protect or do anything like that. It's just to survive, and that means to get bigger constantly. Because if there's no growth, then effectively it's dying. That's how people perceive it, right? You could be a huge government and stay at that size for a few years, but as soon as people notice that you're not spending more money every year, right, it's, oh my God, what's happening? Why are they spending more? So that's the purpose of government. Yes, it's to control the mind, obviously, but of the people. Right? But it is also, and primarily, to grow. Controlling the mind is just a means to the end. The government's purpose is to grow and survive and grow. And in many ways, that's no different than a person's purpose, but a government is not a person. It is made up of people, but it is not a person. And therefore, it can and should be changed and improved on a regular basis. And that's why I think that when I see stories like blockchain having enormous potential for disaster relief, being a topic of interest to the U.S. Department of Defense, I actually have hope for the government, because the military, despite the politics, the military has managed to remain above the fray and focused on their mission, which is to protect the people and the United States and its citizens, right, at home and around the world, and their interests, and to carry out the orders of their lawful orders. And yet, it is the United States Department of Defense that brings to the fore this topic of human relief. And of course, people who hate the military or the government will easily stand up and say, this is just PR. It's an easy fluff piece for them to say, we'll do nice things with it. Yes, of course it is an easy fluff piece, but that doesn't matter, right? What matters is that they implement it and save lives better. I don't, let them have all the PR in the world they want for that. Like, if any government wants to stand up and save more lives, we should applaud that. And if they want to do it using the latest revolutionary technology, we should applaud that too. Especially if technology is something we like and appreciate. And if you're listening to this on the internet, and you don't hate being on the internet, and you're not doing this involuntarily, if you're choosing to be here and listen to this show, well, then you like and appreciate the technology that brings civilization forward. And so you should support this. It just makes sense. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm definitely not giving you financial advice. Definitely not selling you any securities or tokens or ICOs or anything like that. Do your own research, invest in what you know best and not in anything else, and don't invest in what you don't understand fully. And always make, decisions that you're responsible for. Don't make decisions that you're not responsible for. And don't be irresponsible. Okay, yeah, so anyway, folks, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I hope you found this insightful and interesting. I'd really like to know what you think. What do you think about the DoD looking into blockchain? What do you think that means for crypto in general? Does that mean that we're going to be looking at more massive adoption as a result of this, or is this just a convenient way for the government to kind of ease its way into being officially involved in crypto on another level at another agency? That certainly isn't the first, government agency to be involved in crypto, right? I mean, you can pay your taxes in Ohio with crypto now, apparently. But this is, I believe, something very interesting and worthy of comment, let's say, worthy of discussion. So I'd love to hear what you think. Leave a comment, drop us a message. If you like this video, click like. Yeah. And if you have anybody that you think in your circle of friends that should, hear this, then by all means, please share this with them. And of course, if you'd like to get notifications about this, then hit that little bell icon, and of course, subscribe if you want to, get the updates, or please do that, because it's something that takes you half a second and doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us a lot. So thanks again for joining us, and I hope you all have a very happy new year, and we'll see you in 2019. Until then, be well.